Greetings, I'm Dr. Sean Reed, author of the Dating Toolbox, available on Amazon.com. Okay, guys, so today I want to talk about how to avoid toxic women. Okay, how to not get yourself involved with toxic women. A lot of guys will pursue a woman because she's beautiful, and they only think about their interest level in the woman, which is high, and as a result, they overlook red flags. So I want to teach you how to avoid these red flags, how to avoid these women who are going to bring you nothing but sorrow in a relationship. Unfortunately, only about 20-25% of women are relationship material. So one of the primary purposes of my program is a systematic screening and sifting of unacceptable women to get a high quality woman in your life who's a flexible giver. So this idea came to me as I was reading an article about Terry Hatcher. You guys, many of you younger guys aren't going to know who Terry Hatcher is, but she was very famous when I was young. She's close to my age. She's 58. I'm 62. So she was very famous when I was young, and they just did an interview of her. And the big point of the interview is she's unable to find men that are desirable for her to date. When the reality was, when she was young, every man on the planet wanted to date her. When she was 28, every man on the planet wanted to date her, and ultimately she was married twice, and she divorced both of the men that she was married to, and now she's complaining that she can't find a decent guy who wants to date her. And then, as part of this article, a professor of gender studies came on, and gender studies, if you're not familiar with gender studies, I was a member of the University of the Academic World for 25 years. And essentially, gender study is a systematic analysis of it's basically a teaching of the hatred of men. So if you run across a gender studies professor, understand what you're going to get. And an example is in this article. This gender study professor claims that dating applications are chock full of toxic male behavior. And let me explain for a moment her definition of toxic male behavior, and you'll see just how crazy things have gotten and why we need to. She's toxic. She's basically arguing that men are toxic, and let me tell you a little bit about her argument. So she claims that she had a friend who was 54, and this friend went on dating sites, and she stated explicitly, "I'm only interested in men between the age of 40 and 45. They have to be 6 feet tall. They have to make six figures, and they have to be non-smokers." And what happened was she kept getting matches of men who were around 60, and this woman was in her 50s, and she was angry because she claimed that she stated she wanted men between 40 and 45, and instead she was getting men who were closer to her age. And as a result, she and this professor claim that dating applications are toxic. They're full of toxic male behavior. Well, the reality is that men between the age of 40 and 45 are not going to want to date women in their 50s. When I was of that age, I was dating women between the age of 28 and 34. Why? Because I wanted to start a family. I wanted to have a family. Ultimately, I married my wife. I was 44. She was 29. We were able to have children. And the reality is that high quality men between the age of 40 and 45 do not want to date women in their 50s. And this professor claimed that allowing this to happen, which really is just natural selection, is toxic. So this just kind of gives you an idea of how crazy things have gotten. And, this definition of male toxicity really is an illustration of how toxic the dating world has become for men. The reality is that on most dating sites, 85% of the women are only interested in 15% of the men. So the reality is that the truth is that dating sites have become toxic for men. Okay, so let's get back to my main point. Let's talk about how to avoid toxic women. As I've argued, my system, my whole program is designed to screen and sift out toxic women to ultimately give you a high quality woman. So let's talk a little bit about how that system works. The first thing I'm going to want to ask you is, how does that woman make you feel? Does she make you feel good, or does she make you feel bad? If you constantly are feeling bad, get that woman out of your life. Okay? That's the first and foremost definition of whether a woman is toxic or not. Okay? Is she constantly arguing with you? Is she constantly making you feel bad about yourself? If that is the case, get rid of her. So let's talk about some more specific ways in which we screen undesirable, toxic women out of our life. The very first thing is she approachable? Right? I just saw on the video on the internet the other day a video about a woman. She had dropped something out of her purse, and a man grabbed that item, and he was going to give that item back to the woman, and she starts to scream at him, "Get away from me, don't approach me, don't come near me. If you come near me, I'm calling the police." And all this man was trying to do was to give her something, okay, to give her something she had dropped. So the first method of screening is a woman approachable? Remember, in my system, we are approaching and opening lots of women, at least a woman a day, 30 women a day, 30 women a month. So we're approaching and opening. Is she approachable? And of course, we are always polite. We are always gentlemen. We never approach women inappropriately. We always approach them in a nice, a friendly manner. I coach guys, never approach a woman from the back. Always approach her from the front. Let her see you. Let her get comfortable with you. Obey that 6-second rule. That 6-second rule tells us that when you see a woman you like, you have 6 seconds to start a conversation with her. Otherwise, you make her feel creepy. Don't creep women out. Be gentlemen. Approach them as gentlemen. Be light. Be funny. If a woman does not appreciate your approach, get her out of there. You don't want anything to do with her. Trust me. There are lots of women who are simply not approachable. Only 1 out of the 4 women is relationship material. So immediately we're going to screen those undesirable women out. Okay, so let's say next, she is friendly, she's approachable, she gives you her phone number. Okay, you call her up, you ask her out on a date. Does she accept your date idea? Is she agreeable? Or does she start negotiating? Does she saying, no, I don't want to go miniature golfing. I don't want to, we always do action dates. I don't want to go miniature golfing. I don't want to go bowling. I don't want to go to the mall. I don't want to go to coffee. I don't want to go to drink. I want you to take me to an expensive restaurant. If a woman is negotiating early on in the relationship, she's going to be trouble. She's going to be nothing but trouble and a bringer of sorrow later on. Get rid of her. Again, guys, that's why we're constantly opening. That's why we're constantly getting lots of phone numbers. That's why we're constantly doing lots of dating. Okay, so let's say this woman is flexible. She agrees to your first 3 dates. Now you've got a prospect for your dating rotation. Another thing, does she cancel? Do you make a date with her and then 30 minutes before the date, does she cancel? If she does that, get rid of her. This is the first 3 dates. After you've been dating a woman for a while, a canceled date is not that big of a red flag. If you've been dating a woman for a month and then, a month in after you've been out with her 4 or 5 times, if she then cancels, that's something we can work with. But if a woman cancels any of the first 3 dates, get rid of her. That's a red flag. Okay. So again, we're constantly screening. So a woman makes it through your first 3 dates. She is now a candidate for your dating rotation. Okay. Does she make you feel good? You start dating her consistently. Is she positive? Is she a flexible giver? Again, we are constantly screening and selecting women. All right, guys. So that's all I want to talk about today. Get these toxic women out of your life. There are good women out there. All the forums I see, all the videos I see on YouTube are about how undateable most women are today. And that's true about a large degree with them. Like I constantly argue, only about 1 in 4 women are long-term relationship material. My program is designed to get you that one high-quality woman. All right, guys. So if you like what you saw and heard today, please hit the like and subscribe button. We need to build a community of men trying to get better with getting women to love us and stay in love with you. So happy dating.